In this chapter on remainders, first we will learn some of the fundamental concepts. We will learn how to find the remainder of an expression having a sum or an expression having a product when we divide such an expression by a number or another expression. We look at what happens to the remainder when an expression or a number is divided by 5. It follows some pattern, so we look at that. Then we will look at the patterns of remainders when a number, the powers of a number is divided by another number. We'll see how in some cases the remainders will follow a pattern, and using this pattern we can find the remainder when a number is divided by another number. Then we will move on and apply the concept of binomial expansion and see how we can use that concept in finding the remainders of certain expressions when they are divided by a number or another expression. We learn the remainder theorem. We will learn how the remainder theorem can be applied to solve some problems on remainders. We will also see how we can use concepts of algebra like a power n minus b power n is always divisible by a minus b. So we learn how such concepts can be used to solve some problems on remainders. So we've seen how to use remainder theorem. Now let's extend this logic of remainder theorem a bit further and see how we can manipulate some expressions and bring it into the form of how we need in the remainder theorem. So let's find the remainder of 3 raised to 123 by 26. Now we cannot directly use the f of x by x minus form that we have seen. So let's do some small manipulations and then get it into the same form. Now in the numerator we have 3 raised to 123. And what is the number that we have in the denominator? It is 26. So can we express 26 as some power of 3 plus or minus 1? Yes. So 26 is nothing but 27 minus 1, which is 3 cube minus 1. Right? So our denominator becomes 3 cube minus 1. So now if we can express the numerator as a function of 3 cube, then we can use the f of 1, remainder is equal to f of 1 that we have seen, right? So now we have to express this numerator as a function of 3 cube. So 3 raised to 123 is nothing but 3 cube raised to 41, right? So in effect we have got a function f of 3 cube, right? A function f of 3 cube being divided by 3 cube minus 1. And what would be the remainder? The remainder would be f of 1, which is 1 raised to, what's the function? 41, which is equal to 1. So the remainder of this expression 3 raised to 123 by 26 is equal to 1. So we've seen how we can use the remainder theorem to find the remainder of this expression. We can actually calculate or find the remainder of this expression using the fundamental principles that we have learned without doing the manipulations and putting it into the form in which we can apply remainder theorem. Let's look at it. If we look at 3 cube, how much is 3 cube? It is 27. Now, what's the remainder when 27 is divided by 26? Our remainder is equal to 1. So in effect, this becomes the remainder of 3 cube, the whole power 41 by 26. That is the remainder of 27 by 27 raised to 41 by 26. Now, once we get into this form, then it's very easy. This is nothing but the remainder of 27 by 26, the whole raised to 41, which is 1 power 41, which is equal to 1. So all that we have done here is we have used the fundamental principle that remainder of a into b into c by n is equal to remainder of a by n into b by n into remainder of b by n into remainder of c by n, right? So when we have this remainder getting raised to 41, it's nothing but the remainder 41 times. So all this a by n, b by n and c by n are the same. That's what we learned earlier. So this is another way to look at the same problem. So basically our thought process was, we looked at the numbers here, so 26 and 3, and we found the power of 3 that will bring us closest to 26, or the power of 3 that will give us a remainder of 1 with 26. Now if we have such a power, then great. If we don't have such a power, then we need to go to the next method, maybe use remainder theorem or something else. So now we can extend this logic still further. For example, let's say we want to find out the remainder of 249 raised to 324 divided by 7. So what's the remainder? From our fundamental concepts, we know that this is nothing but the remainder of 249 by 7, the whole power 324. Now, what's the remainder when 249 is divided by 7? We know that the remainder is 4. So in effect, this remainder now becomes the remainder of, the remainder of 4 power 324 by 7. Now, let's look for some power of 4, just as we did here. Let's look for some power of 4 which is closest, or which when divided by 7 would give us a remainder of 1 or 2. Let's just check if it's there, right? Now we know 4 cubed is how much? 4 cubed is 64, and 64 when divided by 7 gives us a remainder of 1, right? So now we can split this 4 raised to 324 as 4 cube, the whole power. Is this 324 divisible by 3? Yes. I mean, we need not even be bothered about this power, because our remainder is going to be 1 raised to this. But still, it's going to be 108, right? Divided by 7. Now, this in effect is the remainder of 4 cube, that is 64 by 7. Remainder of 64 by 7, the whole power 108, which is equal to 1 raised to 108, which is equal to 1. So at times we have to manipulate a bit further to simplify what we have, and then apply the techniques and the rules that we have learned.